Today we're going to discuss the company Papa John's. We will uncover past scandals as well as their most current. We will specifically examine how their former CEO and spokesperson's unethical behavior has impacted the overall organization. We will explore not only how the organization has implemented crisis management measures, but also evaluate the techniques, values, and forthcomings. We can best examine this issue by evaluating the organizational culture in the past, present, and future tenses, how they've dealt with past issues, the state of the organization now, and what the future may hold for this organization.
For this next part of the presentation, I'm going to be talking about the unethical behavior used by John Schnatter. Before moving forward, it's necessary to know what ethics are. From our Fundamentals of Management book by Ricky Griffin, he described this term perfectly when he said, ethics is defined as an individual's personal beliefs about whether a behavior or action or decision is right or wrong. Therefore, unethical behaviors are defined as behaviors that do not conform to general social norms. There are several different factors that can determine an individual's ethics, such as family influences, situational factors, values and morals, experiences, and peer influences, much like the factors that influence John Schnatter. Most people may know John Schnatter from his legendary international organization he created from the ground up, but other people may be more familiar with John Schnatter because of his recent interaction with the media because of his unethical behavior against NFL players taking a knee on the field during the Star-Spangled Banner. A USA Today member by the name of Mayer stated that John Schnatter said, "The NFL has been a long-valued partner over the years, but we are certainly disappointed that the NFL and its leadership did not resolve the organization's ongoing situation to satisfy all parties long ago. This should have been nipped in the bud a year and a half ago." Because of Schnatter's comment, people saw his values and morals divergent and unfair to those who stood up against racial injustice, which is why people began to avoid Papa John's restaurant at all costs. Shortly after Schnatter's comments, he stepped down as CEO. Most recently, John Schnatter was in the media because of a conference call with Papa John's marketing agency, Laundry Services. The conference call was designed as a role-playing exercise for Schnatter in an effort to avoid future public relations incidents, much like the one that happened with the National Football League. During the conference call, Schnatter showed his true unethical morals when he responded to the question, "How would you distance yourself from racist groups online?" John stated, "Colonial Sanders called blacks blank and never faced public backlash," and then furthered the statement by talking about his younger days in Indiana, where he said people used to drag African Americans from trucks until they died. The phone call immediately ended, therefore, because of the offensive language that was used. Although Schnatter may have thought his comments were right because of his environmental influence he grew up around, he still was not justified by today's social norms. John Schnatter tried to apologize to the media for his abrupt comments, but it was too late, and now he faces penalties for his actions.
John Schnatter was not only the founder of the company, but he was also the marketing figurehead as well. His face was on every commercial that you saw and every billboard that you saw about Papa John's. Being the owner and the figurehead of a company comes with a high amount of responsibility. Every action is under specific scope. Schnatter, who was previously praised for his quick rise to power in the pizza industry with Papa John's, he's only 58, was found to have said the N-word on a conference call with Papa John's executives as well as their main marketing agency, Laundry Service, in May. This wasn't the first time he had been in the race realm either. In November of 2017, he got into a debate over the NFL and the national anthem protest, and then came back and claimed that the NFL had hurt Papa John's business by not resolving the current debacle that was happening in the NFL. Papa John's stock actually fell 11% in just a couple hours, which subsequently knocked about $70 million off Schnatter's net worth. This first incident was sketchy to some people, but most had forgotten about it until the news of the conference call came out. Schnatter completely broke company beliefs, values, behaviors, customs, and attitudes. And the name of the company itself, Papa, stands for People Are Priority Always. This is one of the first statements in their policies handbook that they give to all their employees. It's something that they've held dear to their hearts as a company. When Schneider created the company, he developed this set of beliefs that every employee must adopt. And he himself broke those beliefs, and the company and the people around him held him to that. Papa John's released a statement after the incident, which stated that Papa John's condemns racism in any insensitive language, no matter the situation or setting. So this is further backing up their meaning of Papa, what Papa means to the company. Schneider was also held accountable to his actions and resigned as the chairman of Papa John's. He still owns 24% of the company and remains on the company's board. He's just not the chairman anymore. People still find that he has the 24% insulting and that he should be forced to give that up. As a result of Schneider's actions, Papa John's fell to a 12-month low, dropping its stock around 14.
Papa John's, as most know, has been under a lot of heat the last few weeks due to some remarks that came out from the face of the franchise, Papa himself. But it's due to the poor crisis management of the company that the days after the news hit that might make this a lot harder recovery for Papa John's franchise. Many crisis management experts have pointed to the several kinds of missed opportunities as the corporation remained notably silent in the crucial hours following the leaked news of John Shatter's words in an executive training session. Papa John's new CEO released a statement, but it did not do the situation justice for the magnitude of the issue. He only said Papa John is not an individual and that racism and insensitive language will not be tolerated in our company. Strong words, but Richie, the new CEO, should have been more direct in addressing Shatter's words and actions. This is the first red flag of the situation, which is them vaguely addressing the issue or not separating themselves as a company away from John Shatter. Also, another red flag is the corporation's delayed response. This outburst occurring back in May, which should have given the company ample amount of time to prepare an appropriate response if the news was to ever hit. In a world where everything can be heard in a split second, a holding response is key for an organization possibly facing a catastrophic situation, or people will think you're ducking the situation. Papa John's franchise failed in this effort. With John Shatter being the face of the franchise, Papa John has done one good thing in their crisis management, which was pulling his image from their marketing. This has been Papa John's best step, in my opinion, during this time of crisis management. The pulling of him from the ads is an appropriate step, but a larger step is needed for the company to save the image of the franchise in this dooming time. As a whole, I think Papa John has done a poor job in their crisis management during this very important time in their company's history.
As you have seen, the recent scandal involving Papa John's and John Schnatter has rocked the company and produced a very difficult situation for the acting board members and shareholders of his company. With his image removed from the logo and the company furthering to remove him from all activities, I think back to the Paula Deen scandal in 2013 with Food Network. After a lawsuit was filed and news got out that she tolerated racial slurs, jokes, and obscene images in her workplaces, Paula Deen, the face of Food Network at the time, similar to John Schnatter's relation to Papa John's, was dropped and the company severed ties with her. However, there is a big difference in how the two went about handling themselves post-reveal of the scandal. Paula Deen made an attempt to let the American people know that her actions were not acceptable. That is not to excuse what she did, but she did make an apparent effort to let those know who were affected that she was very sorry and that she needed to learn from her mistakes. However, in John Schnatter's case, he refuses to go away. Holding 29% of the company, he wants to remain on the board and be involved in the business still. He made an apology, a very sincere one, and since has pledged that he will not go away quietly, placing blame for the slur in the hands of the marketing firm that was helping their company. He is way more concerned with his share in the company than the image that he has damaged. There has been no real apology issued by the company either, as they have hidden the shadows of the slurs that have pushed the company into such a negative spotlight. In the eyes of the consumer, Papa John's has not done enough as a whole to fix this scandal and have poorly communicated their goals in removing him and this scandal from their company. Hopefully, however, in the coming weeks, the board members will get the outcome that they deem necessary to save a failing business and remove an image that will only hurt them going forward if he was to remain on the board of directors. There is no room for what John Schnatter did in this world, and at the very least, he should have no access to the company anymore, just as Paula Deen was removed from Food Network. The precedent has been set in the past, but it seems as if the company, Papa John's, has not learned from the mistakes of other companies like Food Network.
After a thorough analysis of Papa John's as an organization before, during, and post-scandal, we can conclude that Papa John's as a company failed in not only responding but also resolving the damage that their former CEO has done by using racial slurs. We were able to find the unethical behavior and uncover the impact in both monetary and social terms. We can see their lack of preparation, lack of direct action, and delayed reaction to the issue has only created more damage to the organization's namesake and culture. In comparison to Paula Deen's similar controversy, we can see that Papa John's failed to be as apologetic and responsive, and therefore will suffer more consequences. From now on, we can conclude that the organization, Papa John's, needs to make an effort to reinforce their core Papa, people are prioritized always culture. By reinforcing their values, the company must resolve this issue by promoting ethical behavior as opposed to unethical and positive organizational culture.